Hello guys, welcome back. So today I was going to teach you about sex magic, but Asmodeus and I had a hideous fight about it last night. Not that I shouldn't teach you, but he likes to be around as I'm mentally composing videos, and it never comes into my mind in one piece. Often I get like the end or the middle or whatever, and sometimes I'll know what I want to say and I'm not getting there. And I wasn't getting there last night, and he thought I was going to teach you how to play the system, and that was the last thing I wanted to teach you. So he was jumping all over me, and then he was angry. And only once he left, and Loki came and talked to me and calmed me down and worked me through it, Loki was like, "Well, you want to do a video about the ethics of working sex magic?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, because if people are going to practice it, they have to know that there are ethics, just like there's ethics in having a romantic relationship in the here and now with a willing partner. There are ethics to sex magic too, which a lot of people seem to kind of like rush their way through to get you to sexy fun times, but it's actually a really important part of it. Because just like any other kind of magical energy sharing, it's very easy to be taken advantage of, and it's very easy to fall into an unhealthy relationship. Some people confuse sex and love rather easily, especially if they're feeling lonely. That would be one thing. I would say if you're in a depressed, lonely state, apparently we're doing this video, so opt out now if you're uncomfortable. If you're in a sad, lonely state and you desperately want a partner, that is the absolute worst time to try to practice sex magic, because the likelihood of you falling in love or making more out of it than you should is going to be a lot higher. There's nothing wrong with practicing sex magic for the fun of it and finding willing partners in the astral realm, but you have to have groundwork laid before time. You have to understand whether this sex is for fun, whether you are trying to build up a relationship. And again, if you're desperate for a relationship, that is not the time to go into one. I know it sucks, but do your spiritual work, do your loving yourself work. Shut up, Loki. That's not what I'm talking about. Before you enter a relationship, you don't want to enter a relationship in a clingy state, especially a sexual one. And you have to have the groundwork of, is it going to be just for sex? That's one kind of relationship. Is it going to be with a student-teacher relationship where the god, goddess, whomever is teaching you? That's a different kind of relationship, because you're going to be expected to show up outside of the fun times and outside of collecting your goodies to actually do other magical work. Or do you want a romantic relationship? That's something else entirely. And every god, goddess, demon, angel, whatever, I don't care who you work with as long as they consent, is going to have a different response to that. Some are going to, and it's going to differ from person to person. They're not going to be interested in every type of relationship with every person. So you have to get that groundwork out of the way, and you have to get an agreement. It doesn't have to be in writing or blood or anything like that, but you do want an agreement, and you do both want to have understanding of the agreement. And if anything at all feels wrong, I can't emphasize this enough. If they feel predatory, if they feel spookity, I wrote this thing about fun, sex magic in the astral realm decades ago. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't enter into that relationship. Now, back then I talked more about just finding kind of an anonymous lover for fun, but more today it seems to be the trend of getting someone that you want to establish at least part of a relationship with. Now, the thing is, you're going to unfortunately find a lot of straight up fantasies written on the internet about the gods, and you're going to find rather humiliating series of books of erotic fiction written about the gods. Those aren't reality. They are not reality. I can't emphasize that enough. If you enter a romantic or sexual relationship with a god, they're not going to festoon you with things. They are not. They may be nice to you, but they're not going to festoon you with things. It's not, you're a struggling waitress and God A comes into your life. You have this romantic wild encounter and he takes you out of the waitress thing and he sets you up in a minute. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. And a lot of people get disappointed because they enter a relationship and their life stays just about the same. So you have to enter it with clear eyes and a clear head, knowing that that's not going to happen. Don't have that secret little fantasy in your heart that you're really waiting for because it has to come true. It's not going to come true. And a lot of people come crashing down and then decide sex magic is evil, dirty, and nasty. Um, Obviously, too, don't do it if you think it's evil or dirty or nasty. If you have a problem with sex, one, you shouldn't even be watching this video, and two, you don't really have any business practicing it because you're going to be putting off a very bad kind of energy and it's going to attract very bad results and very bad actors. There are those that are more predatory in nature, whether they be spirits or gods or people, and you don't want that in your life. So you also have to treat your intended well. I don't care what kind of relationship you have. I don't need to know the details. Truly don't. You will be banned. I don't know the details. I'm still scarred mentally from reading a description of the old man's nether regions in a book, and that book went in the garbage is where it went. So, you have to treat them with respect. Don't go on the interwebs and blab about the great sex you had last night. That's disrespectful. It's one thing if you're in a underground restricted area that no one else can reach and you all have this kind of club where you discuss things. That's one thing. That's a private dungeon. That's for you. It's another thing if you're going around the internet and telling people on random videos or articles or just being a little shit about it. Nobody likes that. It's really immature and you're causing problems for the god and goddess. You know it is. You're doing it, so grow the fuck out. So don't share too much shit. Nobody needs to know the details of your love life. Treat them with respect. Treat them with the respect you would want to be treated with. Would you really want everybody you've been intimate with in your life going around the internet and sharing videos and sharing pictures of you and sharing details and basically humiliating you by sharing it? You won't want that done to you. Don't do it to a god, goddess, whomever you're with. Um, Treat them with respect as you would treat any other lover. If you're going to end up into a marriage kind of agreement, treat them with respect you would treat a spouse. You are hopefully, unless you and your spouse decide to go make videos on Pornhub, and that is up to you, you probably aren't going to share it. If you do want to share it, find a community that shares that things. Don't just share it among the general public and general pagan population. It's not cool. If you find a place that does that, if you find a place that's more kink friendly and sex positive and wants to share that stuff, fine, share it there, but don't just air it out. And I know I'm taking quite a lot of time to talk about that, but you won't believe how many people just walk up to me and randomly overshare shit about Loki that I can never get out of my mind ever again. I don't need to hear that bullshit. It's especially Loki for some reason. I'm getting people just can't control themselves sometimes, and those people probably shouldn't be practicing sex magic in the first place. So treat them with respect, treat them like a gentleman or lady or whatever gender they may be. Treat them, I don't care if you're practicing somebody. When I wrote the astral plane sex guide, talked about having formed a relationship with, other than if you want to form a relationship, I don't care if you're involved with a dragon or a spirit that lives in a tree, you still treat them with love and respect. It's the same thing. And if you're going to form a relationship, it's a serious relationship. And above all, just, be Jesus fucking Christ. Be respectful. Be considerate of your lover. Be realistic in your expectations. Make sure you feel safe, and periodically go back through and make sure that you're not being taken advantage of and your lover's not being taken advantage of. And it's not a magical ATM, is what I was trying to say in, you know, pre-production when I was trying to kick this idea around yesterday, and Asmodeus got mad. It's not a magical ATM. You can't do the magic, have it work, get all excited, and then immediately run back. It's not Vegas. It's not Vegas, and they're not this sexy ATM or sexy slot machine. You can't go back and keep pulling the handle. Shut up, Loki. One, you're going to drop dead, and two, they're going to feel taken advantage of. It's just like if you get anyone you enter a relationship with and you realize that every time you are together, they get you a little trinket because they're genuinely fond of you. If you start hunting trinkets, some people don't care because they really enjoy sex. And again, you're going to have to talk about this beforehand. But some people would really resent it. And if you're entering into magic with someone sex magic with someone you already have an established relationship with, they're probably going to resent it if you decide, hey, I like that goodie. Okay, let's go again. I want another goodie. They might really resent that, and they might really get their feelings hurt. So don't try to play the system. You could definitely find partners who really don't care about having a romantic relationship, and if the only time you want to meet together is because you want something, they'll be fine with that, but get it hashed out ahead of time. It's probably not going to work well to take that approach with someone that has already decided that they are a god, a goddess, demon, whatever for you, and you then decide, well, we're going to practice sex magic together. You're not going to probably be able to do that. They're probably going to resent it and be hurt because they've already established they have a connection to you, and it was not a kind of business, let's call it business connection, and it may not go well for you. And I think as my list, I was going to teach you to play the system, and I wouldn't do that. It's not going to work well. You don't have to play the system because you can always find a partner that's like, yeah, sure, let's meet up whenever. And results, though, will vary. Make sure that if you are practicing that kind of lifestyle and that kind of sex magic pattern, that you keep getting results. They not everybody on the astral plane, and even gods and goddesses included, always has the best ethics. They might start getting lazy. You might have a first encounter, it goes great, and you might make a first offering. Some people go the offering route instead of having any kind of encounter, and that's fine. Use whatever you want. Media, self-offering, whatever. Um, you might get great results the first time. Second time, okay. Third or fourth time, and after the fifth or sixth time and you're not getting results anymore, either one, you have to slow down and pace yourself, or two, they're just not interested anymore. They're not going to give out goodies anymore. And don't keep throwing attention their way then. And you have to try to establish some kind of communication. If you don't have, inner, hearing with the mind's ear, or you don't do meditation, or you don't do astral realm, some people can't even imagine doing that, then you have to do pendulum, Ouija, listening to the radio, going on Pinterest, but try to figure out some form of communication that's reliable to you. And then you're going to go more along the offerings route. And again, if they agree to accept an offering and you give the offering and something doesn't work, well, one thing, magic doesn't always work. But if it's a repeated thing, then they're just kind of taking advantage of the system and you have to move on. So I hope that helps. I hope most of you are still alive and haven't fainted from shock. But it was a video that actually Asmodeus wanted me to make last night, but I couldn't get all my ducks in a row, and he got frustrated and misinterpreted what I wanted to say because he was taking it personally. And I said, no, I'm not going to teach them, because a lot of people go to Asmodeus for sex magic. I said, I'm not going to teach them to take advantage of you. I'm not going to teach them to hurt you. Obviously, don't do that. Some people do get involved with gods, goddesses, demons, what have you, sexually, just to take advantage of them because they want to be draped in furs and pearls and everything. And that never works out. Gods, for those of you that have stayed this long, they like sex. They don't have a problem with it. But they're not going to just drape every lover in furs and ermines and pearls and everything. Poseidon gets a lot of that from what I found. He gets a lot of people who think he's really going to give out, underwater palaces, or, drape them in pearls or make them fabulously rich. Same thing for poor Hades, same thing for a lot of the Greek gods. And, I think they drink a lot at this point. They're not going to do that. Most gods aren't. You're going to find out that I don't know if I said this video, your life's going to stay about the same. Your life's going to stay about the same. You might get little blips of good luck, but probably at a level that you were getting before. They're just going to come more often, and if you've worked the magic, it might come a little faster. Shut up, Loki. But it's not going to become a thing where you work from this to a mansion overnight. It's not. You may get there, but you're also, in the meantime, remember, you have to put the work in too. If you're trying to work towards moving from your home to working in a mansion, and you have absolutely no ability to do it, well, all the sex magic in the world probably isn't going to change that. But if you do have an ability to do it, if what you really need to do is buckle down and start investing some of your paycheck and do some other things and sell off stock or whatever, and you could move into that mansion, then it's going to work. It's the gods are going to be able to work with what you have. I'm never going to say lose 20 years off my age, even though a lot of people that practice sex magic will claim that. My facial structure is not going to change anything like that. I am what I am. I might think I have changed, and you might get that happy afterglow, but you're not going to change. So don't go into it too expecting crazy things. You're not going to lose 20 years off your age. You're not going to get 6 inches taller. Your eye color isn't going to change unless you get contacts. There are people that will insist it has happened, and you can tell they're using like a soft focus filter and they've had work done. It's like, don't lie, don't lie, don't set people's expectations up, because a lot of people have really big hang-ups about how they look or anything. And I'm like, You can be the ugliest whatever that lives under a bridge and you will find someone willing to work with you. So don't worry about that. It's not for whatever. And as long as you are of consensual age, they don't care. They don't care how old you are. They really don't. As long as you want to practice, they're fine. So it's not something that you have to be kind of porn starlet or star good looks and eternally youthful to practice. You can be the ugliest of ugly that nobody at the bar will go home with, and you can still practice. We might as well get that out there, because some people will be like, "Oh, you have to be beautiful," and you can be the ugliest toad in the pond, and you will find someone. So I'm getting cheering. It's fun to do, obviously, and it's a rewarding experience, but a lot of times it will be for absolutely nothing too. One that's notorious for that is Dionysus. Dionysus just likes sex. He likes his priestesses, which he will decide if you're the priestess or not, to have tons of it responsibly, especially when we have COVID. So if you're going out finding partners, please do not play Mr. Goodbar, and please don't get COVID, and please practice safe sex. But if you're mainly in the astral realm, or you're mainly doing other activities for the sexual activity of the thing, to him that's offering. That's a just and true offering. Why are you going to get anything for an offering? So he's a bit notorious. He's not one that's going to make it rain gold, or shut up, Loki, or find you'll go into your closet and find a mink fur coat or something. That doesn't happen. That never happens with the gods. I know people think it does, but if you can go into your closet and find a mink, you or somebody that lived in that house at some point had it. Trust me, it was there. You just didn't see it before. You might need to clean your closet more often. So I hope that helps, guys. Do your research. Don't work with someone you don't feel comfortable with. Have respect for each other. Treat them like a gentleman or lady. Do not share intimate information online unless you are in a secret club. I can't say this enough. That gets together explicitly for that. Nobody else needs to hear about your sex life, okay? No one really does. No one wants to hear about it, especially other people have some kind of relationship with that god. You don't know how they're going to take it. And even if you both have an intimate relationship, people do not generally take it well to have someone show up in their life and say, guess what I just did with your husband or boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever last night. People don't like that shit, and you know it. So grow up, start being a little more mature and be respectful towards your God, because you are supposedly in a relationship with that god, but you're hurting their other relationships, and that's going to reflect poorly on you. And do you know who will end up getting dumped at the end of the day? You, dear heart, not the person you're trying to hurt. So it's not a thing about last lover, last spouse standing. It absolutely is not. It's about treating people with integrity, and if you want to hang out with other spouses or other lovers, that's up to you, but be respectful about it. Be respectful towards your lover. Get them gifts if you can. If you can. If you can't, they understand that. If you can't give gifts, if you can't give physical things, give time, give other parts of divination. That terrible book I had to throw away because it talked about Odin's penis. Yeah, the only thing I agreed with is that they want respected in the morning. They want treated well. They want treated like you actually love and care for them. Some don't care. Some will meet for straight up sex, and results will vary from that kind of magic. But some do, most do definitely want some kind of relationship, a nice offering of coffee or something, or if you can't give a physical offering, at least spend time together outside of the magical working, outside of whatever. So that basically covers it. You can find plenty of guides to tell you, be in a quiet room, don't be disturbed, don't do this in the subway, okay? Don't do this at work. Don't do this where there's an audience. You will get your ass arrested for one, and just don't. Do it where it's quiet, where you won't be disturbed, and if you don't have the inner ear or you don't have inner senses, and not everyone does, find what communication works for you. Random YouTube videos, Pinterest, pendulum, tarot cards, Ouija board, whatever, and go from there. And that will be more along the lines of making an offering. You can eventually work with guided meditation. There are plenty on the interwebs of how to have some kind of contact in the astral realm, but some people are uncomfortable with that too. They'd rather just give an offering, whether it's a self-made offering or it's an offering of a physical thing like a magazine or watching a film or playing a game or whatever, listening to music, whatever floats your boat, man. So we hope you guys found that useful. We hope not too many of you fainted and clutched your pearls. And we will see you later. Just remember, it's about consent, it's about having fun, it's about having reasonable expectations, blah, 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 blah. It's not going to be any more super effective than any other form of magic. So it's not like it's the fast track to success any more than money magic would be, any more than kitchen witchery would be, any more than meditation would be. So we will see you guys later. Bye bye.